Right. Now, normally, I don't really like doing this, and I kind of put this to the side, talking about stuff that other content creators put out. Like, I stopped doing the response videos to other content creators a while back because I don't know, a lot of people get hard feelings and people come and attack you for no reason, even though you're just talking about a particular point of view that they've taken. And I want to start off, I like Jason Black. That's how come I've never gone back at him about anything he's done. Even times I've disagreed with him, I just kind of let it pass. Okay, that's his opinion. And I keep step. Professor Black Truth and Jason Black, I kind of like. So I kind of, it's their opinion, and I kind of leave it at that. But the only reason I'm even doing this is because a good friend of mine, brother I dearly love, Grinch, asked me to speak on it because he thought Jason Black had a point. Now, I don't know what point Jason Black had that hasn't already been covered, but Jason Black, well, not recently, he's been going in on the red pills for like the last, I'd say year or so, maybe a year or two about the red pill. And since he started the business, he started to amp it up over the last year or so. And other people have told me about it, like Edward Anderson, he mentioned it. A few other people have mentioned it. And I listened to what he had to say. And normally when other content creators talk about the red pill in they derogatory terms, I kind of listen to it and then I see if they know what they're really talking about, and then I move on. And so far, Jason Black has not really given me enough reason to go back and forth with him about the red pill. I really don't think he understands the philosophy, in my opinion. So he's giving it his opinion from an outside look, which you cannot do for an esoteric philosophy. You really can't. You have to get in the middle of it to understand it. And he hasn't been. And secondly, I do believe the vast majority of his clientele or his subs are female, black female, at that. And black females as a whole, as a majority, do not like the red pill, as most women don't like the red pill. And I'm not going to go through the history of the red pill. We're just going to give a response to what Jason Black is talking about. Like I said, really, for the most part, I don't have a problem with Jason Black. I liked his films, the 7 a.m. and Gentrified, and we went back and forth about gentrification, I would say 2015 maybe, on his Facebook group. And I don't know out of that, but then he made a movie from it that I think incorporates some of my ideas, but be that as it may. I'm going to play a couple of clips from Jason Black. I think it's about maybe 5 or 6 minutes. And I'll be back on the other side to give my thoughts about it.
But they keep dropping these little videos and little hints and little statements in between to let you know, if you are a black male who is following behind so-called red pill philosophy and thought, you've been played for a fool and an ass, is what you've been played for. They're not talking to you. They don't mean you. You're not a part of that discussion. They don't want anything for your benefit, because this was not made for your benefit. This was made for theirs. You can add to the numbers of the ranks, that's good, but it's going to be the same hoodwink con job that the white feminists did on black women. They got a bunch of dumbass black women to back them on that. And what ultimately happened, the white women got all the benefits from affirmative action. They got all the benefits of set-asides, being named to corporate boards. In California right now, I think they passed a law in California that you have to have at least one female board member of these companies. Notice they didn't say one black female. Notice they didn't say one non-white female. They just said one female. So once again, this is about power, wealth, influence, and control consolidated in the hands of white men. That's what this is about. That's what it's always been about. And you've been played for a fool to be part of an audience where you sit here and you hype up the numbers and hype up the ranks. But in reality, this is about destabilization, because the problem has gone on too long. It has gotten too far along. I did this video because I wanted to explain in depth here some of the things I've seen. And by the way, these are not the only things I've seen. You can go and look up more, and I'm sure in the comments section, there'll be others of you who are going to point these things out. These issues are real. These issues are real. The attack on masculinity is absolutely real, but let us be clear, there is a racial component inherent in it. Let's be very clear about that. There is a racial component within it. And the individuals who claim that they're going to teach you and get you gained up and educated about how to deal with this, these individuals are the ones putting you in the trick bag. You're not part of that discussion. When they get together and put their heads together, you ain't in it. And yes, I am fully aware that sometimes they do reference specifically black males. Rollo has mentioned about black males having an alpha mystique about us. It ain't a mystique, it's a reality. Yes, they do mention that in passing, but let us be very, very clear. When it gets to the solutions, making an observation, please, this isn't about making a general observation. This is about, okay, what's the solution? What is the solution to the situation? And that's when you start seeing, we steering this in a certain direction. When black men look like we're getting too powerful and too strong, too influential, that's when you're going to see that's when you start seeing these guys put the brakes on. Let's be very, very clear about something. You are seeing men out in the streets, taking it to the police, taking it to the power structure. Is that not the epitome of alpha maleism? Is that not the epitome of masculinity? Deceived about what you are seeing and what you have been seeing. This so-called red pill philosophy and MGTOW and all of this other nonsense here. I have warned black men now and black people to stay wholly away from that. First of all, because it is a white identitarian movement created and promoted and perpetuated for the purposes of empowering white men. White men want control over the system, including and especially over white women. And the more people, they learned the trick from the feminist playbook, the more people they can get to swell the masses and swell their numbers. Doesn't matter if you're not white. You don't have to be white to promote white supremacy. So the more people they can get to swell their numbers, even if you're black, Latino, Asian, whatever, that helps them. Because ultimately, when you say men, you're ultimately going to be like, okay, well, who is that going to be empowering? It's not black males running the economic infrastructure, so who will it be empowering? So first and foremost, they want to make it very clear to white women who the boss is and who's in charge, and that they're going to be unapologetic about it. That's the first problem, that this is a white identitarian movement to empower white men. Second problem, there are basic fundamental flaws in red pill philosophy. Rollo Tomasi understands this. He's been listening to my channel and he started altering some of the things he said because he understands this. One of the issues I've had, and I mentioned this, by the way, is that there's overlap. There's not really a clear definition of what it means to be an alpha male. When I inquired to Rollo about this, at first he said he would talk about it, and then next thing we know, he backed out of it and never spoke again. Because there are basic flaws in the rational male, in his philosophy and everything. There are basic flaws in it that if you listen to him, you're going to continually come to ineffective conclusions. I talk about things that are actionable. I don't talk about male-female relationships. I talk about male-female power dynamics. I don't give a damn about relationships. I'm not interested in talking to you about dating women. I am interested in talking to you about leading women for the outcome that best serves you. I make no bones about it. None. These guys are trying to figure it out. But the thing is, they're trying to construct something that empowers them as white men, and they're trying to figure out how to create a vernacular and a vocabulary that does this while at the same time appearing not to. In the words of Richard Nixon's hatchet man Haldeman. The goal is to construct, the problem really is the blacks, and the goal is to construct a system that recognizes this while at the same time appearing not to. But the end result is that no matter what happens in the end, here's the real problem. Do you all know what the real problem here is? And I'm going to end this video by making this one acknowledgement. Do you all realize what the real damn problem is in the hands of individuals like Rolla Tomasi and Richard Cooper and any of the acolytes or any of the gullible fools who keep repeating it and whatnot and trying to put their own little spin on it? You realize the problem is it doesn't matter which damn pill you take. You're still going to be in the matrix either way. That's the real problem of all of this.
Now, I'm going to put the link in the description to the whole video so you can get a good feel of it. I didn't really want to go clock by clock about what he's saying about the red pill. That's like old school YouTube, and that's when you had way more time to actually do it. Like, you had a couple of days to actually splice in and put in your thoughts. And, since Jason Black is wordy, he's gonna do an hour, and to go point by point over an hour video, I don't really feel like doing that. So that's why I took like this 6-minute clips or so you can actually hear what he said as far as it pertains to black men. Previously, what he was saying is that the red pill entities that came out of the PUA, MRAs, and then after that the MGTOWs were inherently racist or had racist leanings in them. Okay, well, naturally, if white men have coined a term or tried to coin a term and developed a philosophy, then the people that developed the philosophy or the people that adhere to it, the majority of them, if they're white, there's going to be racist leanings in them. So to say that white men are using the red pill for their own power and for their own purposes, I say one word: duh. Of course they are. That goes without saying. Does that mean that the philosophy of the red pill, the blue and the red, and even the black are inherently racist? No. No, it's not. A philosophy is a philosophy. Now, how people use it can be racist or not. Who uses the tool, and philosophy is only a tool, where it will determine how it's implemented. I just want to say to Jason Black about trying to warn us about the racists inside the red pill groups. I want to say, no shit. We knew that 5 years ago. We knew that 6 years ago. We knew that back in 2013, 2014. We already knew that. And at the time, there were very few so-called red pill black men. To say that we're fools because we follow behind racist men, that's bullshit. We don't. 2015, which is 5 years ago, the few black MGTOWs there were inside the MGTOW community, because there weren't that many MGTOWs in the first place, we splintered off and started IBMOR. We found out there was a lot of other black MRAs that had splintered off also. So we took the larger manosphere, which is anti-feminist, notice the word anti-feminist, and started our own group. So you suppose that there's no such thing as red pill black men. You suppose that all black men that are red pill have to be idiots and can't think for themselves. And it takes somebody like you or some other person, especially black females, to actually point it out to us that we don't have enough brains or brain cells or logic or experience to think for ourselves. And it's disrespectful to thinking black men, of who I am one, that think that we have our noses up the ass of white people. But about myself, I've never had my nose up any white person's ass, because I'm an uppity Negro. I was an uppity Negro when they bust me out at 8 years old to a white school, which I spent the majority of my time in K through 12 at white institutions. I have never had my nose up the ass of any white person. I know as white people as well as anybody else on the planet, because I ate with them, I went to school with them, saw them grow up. I know what they think like, I know who they are. I know that white people are inherently racist because they're inherently white. And still, I took on the moniker of MGTOW because I like the philosophy. And the philosophy fit my lifestyle and what I was doing at the time. And it still does. Because it's a tool. A philosophy is a tool. And that tool can be wielded by any person at any time for their own means, including white people and also including black people, which is why we splintered off and started our own thing and took the philosophy and the tools with us. When we were over there, we were already changing MGTOW. the black people that came in. I know I had tons of my ideas stolen when I was over there. My MGTOW channel had 500 when I left. When I stopped producing over there, it's got 11,000, including one video that's like 300,000 views. I've heard Rolla Tomasi himself use some of my ideas, and Donovan Sharp, which I have no problem with. Donovan Sharp, I'm cool with. Coach Greg Adams, I don't know him very well, but I'm sure I'm cool with him too. They do their thing. But they will let you know they're not on the side of the black manosphere. The black manosphere is on its own thing. Black red pill guys are on their own thing. A lot of black red pill guys are B1 or black first. A lot of red pill guys, the vast majority of them, like you and like Professor Black Truth. But does that mean that they're not red pill? They're inherently red pill. And it's disrespectful, disingenuous, and insulting to think that you are smarter than we are, that we need you to tell us what the reality is when we're inside this circle and we know white people just as well as you do. My mother grew up in the same hometown where you reside. I still got relatives there. Sweet Poke, Louisiana, where 3 generations of my people lived and died. 4, really, lived and died. I know racism when I see it. I know racist white people when I see them. I also know how to think for myself. And the very people that surround me and my subs, who are highly intelligent people, highly successful people in all walks of life. I got 10 subs, count them 10, that have PhDs. 10. I got more than a few millionaires that are subs. Successful people. I had a women's channel that was attached to mine. And all while being red pill. So, saying that we need white men that have written books like Rolla Tomasi and I think it was whatever his name, Cooper, who we don't even know, most black men who would not even know their name. Most black red pill dudes barely know who Rolla Tomasi is. They don't follow Rolla Tomasi. We don't follow them. We've never followed Rolla Tomasi. Do we read Rolla Tomasi? Sure. A few of us do. Do we read Royce, who has been exposed as a racist? A bunch of them have been. They were racist back then. Some so explicitly so that were red pilled that they had to be shut down. They were so racist and alt-right. But that was back in 2013. So for you to warn us, 8 years later doesn't count, sir. We already knew that. In fact, my boy Grinch, who turned me on to this video, which is the only reason I'm responding to you. Same thing you said in your video, I told him 4 months ago, when a white guy was commenting on the black sector of YouTube, the black manosphere of YouTube. And how come we didn't accept their ideas from the outside? I told him the exact same thing you said I told him 3 or 4 months ago. And the rest of us told him the exact same thing. How come we don't allow white subs, even though I got tons of white subs that sub to my channel, that would love to comment, and every now and then they do, but why they don't really participate on my channel is because basically they're not allowed, for the most part. They're not allowed for the most part, they're not allowed in our streams. We don't really share their videos. We don't really mention them in our, in our commentary, unless they have something very specific to say that will help our overall message. We have known from the very beginning that we have a specific, particular issue with our women. And it's going to take all of us as males to figure it out, because it goes beyond just mating and dating and marrying and whatever you're going to want to do with a black woman. There's fundamental issues that black people in the society have. And there's fundamental issues that black men and black women have. Not necessarily the same, but the thing is similar enough to where we have to work the stuff out, stuff that has not been worked out in 300 years. And for you to think that you have it figured out and you have all the answers, sir, if you could fix that and fix the black family, trust and believe, Washington would pay you at least $1 trillion to do it, because it costs them trillions of dollars actually to fix this doggone problem. The last thing I'm going to say about this, because you mentioned the blue, the red, and whatever pill, which is the black pill, which is the last one. You're a businessman. You're a marketer. That's what you need to stick to. Esoteric philosophy does not suit you, sir. You are not a philosopher, sir. As a philosopher, you suck. But I'm going to give you a hint about the pills. And I've said this many, many times, what the pills actually are. The blue that symbolizes the matrix. It's not the machinery in real life. If you listen to Sister Sophia, if you even listen to the Wachowski brothers, the matrix in this society symbolizes what? The way you were trained. Your socialization, your culture that trains you to act a certain way. The way you see the world is the way you're trained to see the world. The way you've been taught to see the world is the blue pill, which is functional, which is the vast majority of people, or what they, if you believe the 5%ers, the vast majority of people are blue pill. They have to be, otherwise society would not function. Everybody cannot be in Zion. The red pill doesn't matter where you are, because red pillers could go inside, in and outside of the matrix. The red pill is awareness, seeing the world for what it really is, seeing outside your blue pill training, not your physical person, not where you are. Any place can be the matrix. I don't care if it's in white supremacy, Western United States, whether you're in Africa, whether you're in China, whether you're in Japan, whether you're in Korea. The matrix, the blue pill, is your socialization. It's your culture. It's what you're trained. When you go outside of that and see the truth as it really is, not according to the rules of the matrix or the blue pill, then you're red pill, which is why you go through red pill rage, because you feel that you've been lied to. The black pill, which is the last one, which is the one they say are the 5%ers, or the watchers, or the people at the very top, which are the architects. In the Matrix movie, it was the architect and the oracle. They were the black pillars. Neo became the third. Black pill is seeing the world as it is and how it's constructed, without morals, which Neo became after he lost his sight. He became black pill. Those are the pills. Those are the three parts of the philosophy. And the secret is, it has nothing to do with your physical location. It has nothing to do with your body. The blue pill is a prison for your mind. But if you're not a philosopher, especially not an esoteric philosopher, can't understand the pill. So I don't even know why Jason Black is even speaking on it when you're not a philosopher. It's like me going back and forth with Stardust about nihilism versus utilitarianism, which is Owlman versus Batman, but that's a story for another day. So Grinch, listen to somebody that's not a philosopher talking about philosophy is a mistake. Does Jason Black know politics? Yes. Does he know philosophy? No. Does he understand the red pill? No. Black men adopted the red pill, and the red pill stands for some of the precepts of these tools to correct their own lives. And I think the real reason that it's important now is because of the environment, political, financial, social environment says so. Another thing I also want to say before I get off of here. If you listen to me and some of the other red pillars on this side, we could have told you what the riots are all about before they even happened. Why the white people are out in the streets holding BLM signs before it even happened. And why it's happening all over the world and not just here. Could have told you that before it's happened. Before it happened. We actually did say it before it happened. And guess what? One of your white people that you follow, Jordan Peterson, agreed with it. Now, whether I said it before him or he said it before me, nobody knows. But I'm going to let you ponder on the reason why they're out there and see if you can figure it out. And then get back to me. You know local politics, but kids, you need to figure out how the world works. And I don't think you do yet. But that would mean you have to take the black pill. And I don't think you're ready for that one yet. Anyway, Rich, this is for you. Hope this makes sense. I didn't really want to go and chop up the whole video point by point because I think it's a waste. If I have to, I'll do it. If there's a response after this, we can go back and forth. I'll go back and forth with Jason. Okay. Them other folks, I'll make one video and basically that'll be it. And for the record, like I said it before, I like Jason Black. And the only reason I'm even responding to this because Jason Black don't know what the hell he's talking about as far as the red pill. And Grinch, you're the only person who could get me to do this. Because Edward has tried. but you're the only one that kind of get me to do this. But anyway, bruh, hope you like it. With that, I'm out, and peace.